every parent wants the best for their children. But if you said to them, what is that? They probably would struggle to answer.
Oh my God, my son got 100 in mathematics. Okay, so what?
Vemos a los jóvenes como que en una frontera están como inmersos en el mundo de la tecnología, que es parte de su realidad y que no era parte de nuestra realidad.
Children have changed, environment have changed, the world has changed, technology has changed, everything has changed.
They really feel that what is happening in the world right now is a tilt, and somehow their children will not survive.
Current childhood is demanding because there are so many influences, and the main challenge is how can you become a grown-up in a healthy way.
Ich denke, dass immer deutlicher wird, dass in den Spannungen, die wir heute erleben, hier in Europa und in anderen Ländern, dass diese Fähigkeit mit einem gewissen Selbstbewusstsein dem zu begegnen und sich wandeln zu können, also die Fähigkeit, eine Flexibilität in sich zu haben und Neues zu lernen.
A lot of people are beginning to awaken to the reality that the kind of education that their children are going through does not provide them with the tools to be able to feel comfortable in the world. I think it is this increasing disillusionment that is leading more and more parents to look for these different alternatives. And Waldorf education becomes a very interesting alternative.
我们说，最开始的时候，孩子这样一个种子一样发展，最开始的时候是需要这样去保护它，然后这个慢慢的这样打开，然后最后打开，然后一脚就把它踢出去了 ，go to the world 去做他的工作，所以我认为是可以的。
Und genau das ist es auch, was meiner Meinung nach auch in der Waldorfpädagogik in der Schule geweckt wird an den Schülern. Wirkliches Interesse an der Welt und an den Menschen in der Welt zu wecken.
They saw me as not just a brain that could take up the facts, but as a person with an inner life.
Das, was in diesen Kindern lebt, als Zukünftiges, und das ist die Zukunft dieser Kinder, das, was in ihnen lebt, dass das auch sein darf. Denn das ist das, was eben zukunftsbildend ist. Und wir nicht sie so formen, dass sie das machen, was wir schon sind.
The ability to really see the temperament, the destiny of a child, the way it's planned, this is a tough question to become familiar with.
Within a very short time, when a child joins the Waldorf school, the community where this child comes from can begin to get the sense that there is something special about this child. Now, often, they cannot be able to describe what is special about this child, but they can sense there is something special about this child.
She came out and she said, "Who's this? Which school has this girl come from?" Because she knows what she can do and she knows what she can do better.
Wherever people went, they'd say, I walk into a Waldorf school and I know it's a Waldorf school. It has the same watercolor painting with the blue background and the sun in the sky and the beautiful green tree. How is it that over 100 years there could be such ongoing fidelity?
To come to this moment now, to see why Waldorf education becomes an attractive option, I think we have to go much further back.
If you look at the 20th century, first Waldorf school, 1919 in Germany, right after the First World War.
The end of World War I, and Europe, Germany was a real mess. Nothing worked anymore. People were starving, and people were ready to do something new, to try something new.
It started as a little thing in Germany, in Stuttgart, Waldorf Astoria, and an owner of this factory said, I would love to have a good school for the children of my workers.
To open a school which has open doors for children from all levels of society.
Ab der 7. Klasse bin ich auf die Freie Waldorfschule Ulanzhöhe in Stuttgart gegangen, also jene Schule, mit der die ganze Waldorf-Geschichte begonnen hat.
Big shift was 1928 in New York. And then you have the Second World War. Waldorf schools closed by the Nazi government. End of the war, Waldorf schools open and expand. The wall comes down in Berlin. Waldorf schools expand. The Soviet Union opens up in Waldorf schools.
Each and every one of those schools was founded by people who said, we are looking for something new for their children.
A school for those who are really engaged in education, who are really thinking about what can I do for my child so that it will be able to design its own life.
Right now, Waldorf education is an international movement. It's a very, very fast-growing movement.
There are more than 1,000 schools. There are more than 2,000 kindergartens in nearly 90 countries around the world.
This is not a German effect, this is not an American effect, this is a worldwide effect.
我们现在有幼儿园有300多所幼儿园，小学和现在我们开始高中嘛，有60来所，然后是12年的时间，12年的时间。
There are schools in Thailand, the Philippines. There are schools in Vietnam now.
And you have schools in San Francisco, and you have schools in Moscow, and you have schools in South Africa.
Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Israel.
We see in Israel that we have plenty of kindergartens because that's the easiest. And then all these kindergartens want to become schools.
There's some projects going on the West Bank.
Also ich bin in einer Favela geboren, jugendlich gearbeitet hatte mit der Waldorfpädagogik.
Como si fuera una explosión de pequeñas escuelas Waldorf o jardines por todos lados de la Argentina.
There are 4 schools in Hyderabad, 3 in Mumbai, 1 in Bangalore, 1 in Chennai, and 2 in Delhi, 1 in Pune.
And there are more all the time, in every different kind of circumstance. I visited a teacher who teaches in a dump in Kosovo. It's called that, the kindergarten on the dump. No beautiful toys, no nice curtains, nothing. They use bottle caps, they use whatever they can find.
There is not a single Waldorf school in the world which is pure. You always have to make a compromise. The question is, how far can you go with the compromises in order not to lose your identity?
There's no Vatican in the sky. There's no school board. It's a network. It's a loose network. How can this be?
It's like the prototype of a grassroots movement. And it has grown to be the biggest and largest pedagogical movement in the world, which is not state-run or run by churches or commercial interests.
Steigt und permanent einfach größer wird, sondern der begrenzt sich auf
Es ist eben nicht so, dass Waldorfschule nur so gemacht werden kann, wie wir das in Stuttgart machen, sondern es ist eben heute deutlich, dass Waldorfschule bunt ist, sehr bunt, dass in jeder Kultur man es anders machen kann und dass es jeweils auf die Menschen ankommt, wie man das machen möchte, auf die Kultur, auf den gemeinsamen Zusammenhang.
China is a country with long history, so we had our own Oriental wisdom also. But I think Waldorf education really meets or corresponds with our old wisdoms quite well.
Like Sharam here, they came, the group of people, and they said, we want to build this school and the different schools. So they did it. And here is Waldorf.
My dream is to bring this education for Arab people. We started with 4 pupils. Now we are a very big school.
شفعمر فيها من 3 طوائف، إسلام مسيحية ودروز. فالاختلاط مع بعض ومعرفة الشخص للثاني، المسلم بيعرف المسيح وبيعرف الدرز وبيعرف عاداته وبيعرف تقاليده، هذا بخلق محبة ومعرفة للشخص الآخر.
Waldorf education has to be adapted in other countries to the cultural basis of these countries, to the images, the colors, even the language.
Not to throw all the tradition away, but to look at the tradition and to see how you can live in it, that it's related to you.
Everything that was about India comes back through the Waldorf curriculum into the schools.
The young bird would fly, rest, and then fly. We see more and more the motifs that used to exist in the old African society beginning to re-emerge again through children who are going into Waldorf schools.
In that kind of sense, we would become a much authentic Chinese than we are right now.
Connected to this huge growth of Waldorf education is the need for a more human education and for more human values in education, a need for an education where you can become oneself.
Steiner said, fundamentally, all education is self-education.
Oder den anderen finden, den anderen Menschen finden, heißt auch gleichzeitig mich selbst finden. Und in diesem Rätsel stehen wir eigentlich drin.
Islam is describing this in a beautiful way by saying every one of us has some drop of light of Allah in him. So just give space to this light and it will give you light and direction. And this is basically all about what we are doing, giving space to this light in everyone.
If children can grow up with a deep, deep knowing that our connection to others is the crux of who we are, that that's where we find ourselves, then this world will be okay.
The young people that I've met all over the world who have gone through Waldorf pedagogy are social entrepreneurs. The fundamental thing that they do best is experience belonging. They can make a space for the other. And what we call social sculpting. How could we create new meeting points utilizing these capacities to bring it into economy, bring it into governance, bring it into the ecological movement.
It sees educating young children in the ways of justice and peace and brotherhood as more important than anything else.
I look at this child and I see that this child has a more caring attitude towards other children. I look at this child and I see when this child plays, there's a lot of imagination and a lot of creativity that comes into their play. When it comes to things like sharing, they find it very easy to share. And so I think that for me is really what makes Waldorf education so beautiful.
Einerseits innerlich hat sich viel geformt, es sind Strukturen entstanden, Formen. Und zugleich sehen wir, dass diese Pädagogik sich weiterentwickeln will in die Zukunft. Und die Frage ist, wie nimmt man diese Zukunft wahr?
Steiner was never about mimicking. You would betray original intent. You have to keep thinking and looking at the child before you.
Was sind die Nöte der Zeit? Dieser Frage heraus ist die Schule auch damals gegründet worden.
It will have a new stage in the future, I think.
Übergreifend und von unten und zurück.
We'll be desperately in need of integrated human beings because our society will grow more and more complex.
Without these capacities, we will still be repeating our mistakes that we've institutionalized in our culture.
We have to think ahead
many generations, but the seeds have to be planted now. And that's exactly what Waldorf education will do. It's just planting the seeds.
Something which started at one place is a global impulse now, and which actually sets things free in a wonderful way. And that's what I hope that many, many, many schools, teachers, parents, children can take part in.
This is what joins us together. And when we cultivate this feeling life, then we are working even more and more to solidify and crystallize these heart forces, which then help these children to actually more and more feel that despite of all the challenges, there is hope for the future.
Dass wir uns gegenseitig Aufmerksamkeit schenken, das ist das Zentrale des Unterrichts. Und da sehe ich ein ganz großes Entwicklungsfeld. Es war was ganz Kleines, aber eigentlich das Größte. Denn Aufmerksamkeit schenken ist eigentlich Liebe.
Thank you, everybody. How are we? We good? Are we amazing? Are we good? We're great. Are we amazing? Are we fantastic? All right? Yeah? We doing it?
What do you guys think about this school compared to other schools your friends are in?
It's safe.
Yeah. It's what?
It's good and safe.
The important part of this work is creating healthy humans.
In Israel, there's not a lot of opportunities for Jewish, Arab children or adults to live together, to work together, to study together, to grow up together.
في هون عندنا حضارتين أو مجتمعين، مجتمع الإسرائيلي ومجتمع الفلسطيني العربي، ولازم نربي الأولاد بوعي فكري وقلبي إنه يجمع الأشياء هذول مع بعض.
السلام عليكم. So it's a daily thing for a child to see, for example, for a Jewish child to be held and caressed by a Muslim lady, or the opposite. So the child will never be afraid of a Muslim lady because she has a hijab, or the other way around.
So, guten Tag, hallo. Seit 2014 erlebt Europa eine große Flüchtlingskrise. Davon ist auch die Schule hier in Karlsruhe, das Parsival-Zentrum, betroffen. Wir haben im letzten Jahr bis zu 160 unbegleitete minderjährige Flüchtlinge aus aller Welt gehabt, von China über den Irak, über Syrien bis hin zu den ganzen afrikanischen Ländern, nordafrikanischen Ländern, aber auch von Teilen des Balkans. Einen guten Appetit. It's always the same. The children come and they feel there's help.
Most of the teachers here, they have like a real close relationship with the children here. They're like brothers and sisters to us. Or like they can be like like our mom and dad to us sometimes.
Sondern dass es um das Kind zentral geht. Und das Kind eigentlich die Leitlinie ist, um eine Schule überhaupt erstens zu bilden und am Leben zu erhalten, wieder neu zu gestalten.
ولا البناء ولا الألعاب ولا الألوان. مهم المعلمة، إذا المعلمة بتكون تحب الأولاد تعطيهن من جوا من داخلها بحقيقة بمحبة، وهذا اللي هاي أهم إشي، يعني إن هي المعلمة. التغيير هو بس بده يكون بالمعلمة نفسها.
The teacher meets the child, recognizes what the child needs to learn, and creates the conditions within which that's possible.
Every child is asking to be seen. Every child wants to find their way into the world, wants to find their direction, their task. And I think today a lot of children seem to be getting lost. Young people, lost in that I don't know who I am.
Every child has the right to have a surplus on positive memories about his school time. Because we know today that the memories, the quality of the memories, are quite essential to overcome traumata, to overcome illnesses, to overcome problems in your biography.
We have to actually now attend to what are the real developmental needs of a generation of children that are becoming much more traumatized by the experiences that they're having in our living environment.
Also montags ist hier ein Morning Circle, wo alle Klassen im Kreis hier herumstehen. Diese Form der Inklusion, wo alle Schulen, alle Kinder mit verschiedensten Förderbedarfen, auch die ganz normalen Waldorfschüler, hier beisammen sind, das ist die Methode, die Anonymität zu durchbrechen.
Gut oder schlecht?
Gut oder schlecht?
Inclusion is one of the key pillars of Waldorf education since its cradle. In 1918, the Goetheanum was built. In Dornach, this small village outside of Basel, Dr. Steiner could have founded his first Waldorf school in Dornach. It would have been easy. He had an easy walk to work, and it would be a lot less fuss. He started it in inner city Stuttgart, a huge commute for him, all the difficulties of bringing these groups of kids together whose parents not only had never talked with each other at this level, but who had tremendous disdain for each other. And so we need to remember that that is how we should talk. It's our language. And then we should think, what does inclusion look like today?
Good morning, community scholars! Good morning, Principal Princeton! I have several things to highlight this morning. Some of the experiences these young children have had in their lives are seeped in living in a community like Oakland and being resilient in that community. That when they're able to bring beauty and see the good and the light in the world, that is the solve. To me, that's the essence of what Waldorf could do for the world.
Me encanta ver el empeño que tienen en que Víctor aprenda, o sea, se supera en las cosas que él tenía dificultades para hacer o que a él no le gustaba expresar, a él no expresaba lo que sentía y es cosa que ahora lo está haciendo. Él se expresa, a él si no le gusta algo, pues...
When you don't know the other, you can imagine the most incredible things about the other. You can demonize the other, you can vilify the other. But when you know the other intimately, and that other is your friend, your classmate, the one you grew up with, then you can't so easily be convinced as to the imagination of the other through propaganda, through media, through politics. there's a more intimate knowledge that trumps anything else.
You're entering into a world of increasingly rich diversity. That something happens when you are intentionally inclusive with the right supports, that everybody wins. And you don't know that until you try it.
It's such a life experience to come every day to the classroom, as we do in World of Education, and to say with Jewish Hebrew speakers and with Muslim Arab speakers, نور الشمس الغالي ينير لي يومي عظمة الروح بنفس تمد جسدي بالقوة.
We give and we receive. We are responsible and we trust.
Part of making a child able to deal with circumstances is the fact that we have to make them willing to investigate them. Because they're not limitations, they're initiations, they're waking up the being.
So the role of the teacher in many ways becomes this wonderfully creative challenge of staging moments that are so real that the child can meet them.
On this side, most of the force is going to be in that direction.
In Waldorf, there's a lot of why questions that are answered. So you start off the experiment and you observe a phenomenon. You say, why? And so then you dig a little deeper and why? And eventually the whys run out because human knowledge runs out.
Why did Napoleon return? It's a riddle, right? Why did he return?
There's no really an easy answer to climate change. There's no easy answer to ending war or poverty. You know, you have to actually burrow in and figure this stuff out.
It's not information that they want alone. They want a truth.
تربية الفالدورف هي بتكمل واحد التاني، يعني بتخليش قطعة صغيرة ناقصة. كمان تربية بالداخل، تربية على المحبة وزي ما قلت، تربية على الإنسانية، تربية بلا حدود، بلا يعني خفش من الآخر.
I think it was so important in the 20th century that Waldorf education really tried to find out its own identity, its own specials, what is the unique point of a Waldorf school. But for the future, I think it's much more interesting, how can we really relate and co-work with different understandings of the human being.
Development means to lift it from one consciousness to the next, to develop ourselves, to develop the earth, to develop community. But I see we have to digest it. We have to bring it in another form for the sake of the development of another people, not myself. And perhaps I develop also myself when I do that.
It's possible to find your way as an Egyptian, as a Muslim or a Christian or Coptic or Jewish person, to go the path of cultural evolution you are part of, and at the same time develop your own consciousness and your human side.
コミュニケーションを取る核になっていく、そんな人たちがこの経験値として
いつもの考え方じゃないところで保護者も直感的にあそうかもっていう思える、そこでつながっているような気がします。
Weil überall auf der Welt Menschen sind, die vielleicht örtlich weit voneinander entfernt sind, aber man spürt, man ist irgendwie nah aneinander dran durch die Ziele, die man und die Werte, die man vielleicht hat.
This goes beyond cultural differences, this goes beyond political differences, this goes beyond economic differences between people. It's about focusing on a human task.
How do we sense and cognize what is coming to the world and prepare ourselves in such a way to meet it? This shift in consciousness will become much more expressive in the world in the next 25 years. Much as 100 years later, we will be living in a very differently cognized reality.
You can see it, you can feel it, yes. World of education make children, normal children, strong for life.
It's about hope, it's about faith, it's about grace, because teachers, we have to have grace that we don't have all the answers. We have to understand our children and their families in the community, that they're our primary source for learning. They help us in our becoming, of being our better selves.
Vielleicht ist das auch der Grund, warum ich selbst Lehrerin werde, weil ich für meine Kinder möchte, dass sie wirklich eine Schulzeit haben, die sie stärkt und ihnen Vertrauen für die Welt und ihre Aufgaben schenkt.
My earliest memory of myself and the people around me goes back to about 4 or 5 years old. Those experiences are the foundation of who we are.
Die frühe Kindheit ist ja so ein ganz wichtiger Beginn im Leben eines jeden Menschen.
Eu acho que é o tempo mais precioso que tem na vida humana, porque prepara você para o resto da vida.
They're learning about what it means to be human, and that's a big job.
Parents are now confronted with so many existential questions. Because there's so much going on in the world, in the digital media.
Dnešní děti procházejí situací, kdy na ně útočí spousta poznatků a spousta věmů.
それを今の世の中はやっぱりどんどん早く大人にしていってしまう。
It's challenging to be a child in today's world.
Parents now, they begin to think, to wake up, so they begin to look for something new.
The offer of something that embraces not only knowledge but also a good environment for the inner development. This is really something that people is looking for.
And so the early childhood education is about accompanying the parent and the child on their journey of becoming.
Alle Kinder fassen an. So Kinder, wir machen bald. Komm.
Ich denke, ein ganz großes Verdienst von Rudolf Steiner ist, dass er realisiert hat, Kinder in bestimmten Altern bestimmte Bedürfnisse haben.
Unseren Zwerg wieder, woher er sich
Ein 4-Jähriges ist nicht wie ein 6-Jähriges, ist nicht wie ein 8-Jähriges. Und es hat bestimmte Interessen, es will bestimmte Fähigkeiten entwickeln.
And in those first 7 years, the deep bodily experience is just putting down the cornerstone. It's putting down the fundament on which all other things can flourish and blossom.
Tady v Praze to není obvyklé, je všude plno aut a místa na hraní je málo. Pokud je místo na hraní, tak je to vyrobené dětské hřiště. To znamená, že pobyt tady ve školce je svobodnou nebo svobodným místem a takovou krásnou oázou pro ten volný svobodný pohyb bez omezení.
Eu cred că părinții în zilele noastre devin din ce în ce mai conștienți în ceea ce doresc pentru copiii lor. Doresc ca să se apropie din nou de natură.
Donc, ce qui est tellement important pour lui, c'est tout ce qui est sensoriel, c'est tout ce qui est émotionnel, tout cet environnement, l'ambiance que nous créons autour de lui. Beaucoup plus que ce que nous lui expliquons.
Je krásné, že se mohou vlastně dotýkat všeho a jejich smysly mohou být oslovovány.
The World Health Organization says play is now a criteria for mental health. Play is essential for creativity, and in being creative that we are most human.
Et donc, quand je laisse l'enfant dans un mouvement naturel par imitation, je prépare vraiment son cerveau pour que il puisse être malléable et utilisable après pour les apprentissages. C'est directement lié.
And what they see, they take into their own being, and they make and shape in freedom their own understanding of it. This starts in early childhood by allowing the child to bring to expression who they are and value them.
Das kann man, wenn man eben nicht über sie bestimmt und wenn man das Umfeld des Kindes so gestaltet, dass das Kind die Erfahrungen machen kann, die es braucht und die es machen will.
Cái đó là vô cùng quan trọng, thành ra các em được phát triển một cách tự nhiên, một cách đầy đủ, như là cái hoa nở ra, chứ không phải để bị bé ép hay là không bị người lớn cho những cái tư tưởng của mình.
In early childhood, the child is allowed to engage in the world through their limbs and their senses. Working in the sandbox or baking bread or tilling the soil in the garden means that they are doing things wholeheartedly, and this wholeheartedness translates right into how you learn to read or write or do arithmetic.
Well, I think what we haven't realized is that the child, their mind and their body have to really connect and develop before they are ready to take on these tasks, these academic tasks. And the Waldorf school is sticking to that system that no, you have to develop these foundational pathways, and each child is unique. And each child, when they are ready to read, that's the time we're going to have them read. This takes time.
In Deutschland ist es so, je früher die Bildung einsetzt, desto besser. Aber wir verstehen in der Waldorfpädagogik eben etwas anderes darunter, eben wirklich dem Kind Raum für die individuelle Entwicklung zu geben und vor allen Dingen auch Zeit.
And if we just stop and really watch, without us telling them, there's so much that happens in that time.
Oftentimes when a young parent comes into my school, they have a visceral reaction to the space. They don't know what it is, but it is this, oh, this feels really good.
They suddenly go, they're not touched on an intellectual level. They're touched on a heart level. Something feels right.
Azt se tudják, hogy miért választják a Waldorf pedagógiát, de igazán azt akarják megadni a gyereküknek, hogy felnőttként szabad emberek lehessenek, és ne
在中国有一句老话，望子成龙。每一个家长都希望自己的孩子长大以后成才成龙，能够成为一个很成功的人，这是自古以来都有的。他们就会看到不同的教育带给孩子的品质不一样，所以有的家长就会看到华德福教育、华德福幼儿园里面的孩子，很多孩子上了幼儿园以后，感冒咳嗽少了很多，爱吃饭、爱运动、睡觉睡得好，那就是最基本的。然后你看到老师很爱孩子，很用心的照顾孩子。
We don't want him to lose that essence of what being a child is about. There's no pressure on one child to be better than the other. The children are really allowed to fully explore their potential in whatever capacity that may be.
Working with parents is a huge part of our task, to make them feel confident in themselves, enable them, empower them on what they can do with children.
We are more interested in the 3 R's, which are pure 3 R's, which is rhythm, repetition, and reverence. Those 3 R's are what we want here in this school.
And the flames go up and down, and the flames go up.
説明はその子の魂がどれだけ元気かっていうことを大切にしている授業だと話していて。
大人は忙しくって先のことを考えたりとか、それから早く行かないと何々に遅れるよって言うんだけれども、まさに子どもは今に生きている。だからそこでアリと出会ったら、そのアリと向き合う今に生きている。
Everything that they're doing is a first, new, and they're collecting information and feelings and reactions.
En Escuela Caracol procuramos de brindarle un espacio sano, un ambiente cálido al niño, respetando sus etapas de desarrollo, ya que la primera infancia es la base de la vida del ser humano.
First of all, I picked this specific garden because I knew how much parents are engaged in the education there.
Everyone cares the best for their children, but I care about him to be a better person, a better man.
Many of the things that we do within early childhood in our education can be picked up and easily brought into the home.
Jetzt essen wir und jetzt ist Schlafenszeit. Und ganz einfache Schritte, die Entwicklung zu begleiten, liebevoll zu begleiten. Kinder brauchen immer bei allem, was sie lernen, die Resonanz des Erwachsenen. Sie brauchen den liebevollen Blick, sie brauchen die Hand, die sie vielleicht über die Gefahren hinwegführt, sicher.
Good morning.
You want to sleep?
Gauri, did you sleep well? Did you have a good breakfast?
Our lives have also changed, the way we live, the way we give them that same experience even at home, to really be aware of their presence as they grow up, because it's very easy to miss the childhood by just being busy and missing out on that, and then later realizing that, hey, we didn't spend enough time.
They just want you to be present, 100% present.
It's happening all around the world. I know the teachers are asking the same questions. The parents are coming with the same concerns.
Estamos envueltos en un mundo mediático tremendo. La tecnología
ha traído grandes ventajas al mundo, pero también desventajas que hay que reconocer. Y una de las cuestiones de los padres jóvenes principalmente es que sus hijos puedan lidiar con toda esta mediática.
Сейчас действительно можно заметить, что дети, которые очень много сидят у компьютеров, но когда я наблюдаю в нашем детском саду таких деток, найти эти сюжеты и как они это все воплощают в жизнь.
Educar a criança é educar a si mesmo também. É ver o que eu preciso fazer para eu estar inteira diante dessa criança.
Eltern das zu versuchen zu sagen, dass es immer darauf ankommt, auf das Jetzt. Jetzt bin ich für dich da.
It's building trust in the parents that they actually know what to do and they are good enough and nobody is perfect. To have that trust and also the space to wonder just at these amazing children who are around us.
All parents, in essence, have this deep concern and this deep wish to support this beauty that they're perceiving in their children.
子どもの成長との一番身近にいる存在として自分自身に本気で向き合うことが求められている、そのことを強く感じています。
I feel that we are on a cusp in the world and in many societies of the old and the new coming towards us and the old sometimes holding us back.
People do ask us, how will our children cope when they go into the big bad world? And how will they become engineers or doctors? But 10 years or 15 years from now, we don't know what it's going to be like. What is going to be the need of the hour? You may not need a CEO of a shell company. You probably need a CEO for someone to manage water in the future. Yeah? And that person needs to be wise and just and empathetic towards people's needs.
In Waldorfpädagogik liegt ein großes Potenzial für die Zukunft, wenn man sich den Menschen anschaut. Zum Beispiel ganz selbstverständlich auch einen spirituellen Teil am Menschen anzuerkennen. Das ist für mich persönlich das größte Potenzial für die Zukunft. Und wenn ich dann anschaue, in wie vielen Ländern es das gibt, es hat irgendwie überall gekeimt und irgendwie hat es was getroffen, wonach Menschen suchen.
Global schools are just but a few of the many thousands, hundreds of thousands of schools that are in South Africa. And so the more the movement can come in at the grassroots level and the more people that can be educated and learn about the curriculum and the way of looking at the young child, I think it's an immense tool that can actually change the world.
Ich hoffe, dass die Kindergärten so Oasen auch sind, wo dieses, ich sage jetzt mal, Recht auf Kindheit noch gelebt werden kann.
Och alltså förskolan, alltså verksamheten, att alla är involverade och skapar den här platsen tillsammans, alltså i framtiden med alla utmaningar som vi står inför. Så ska
And we need to protect this time so that we can make resilient, self-sufficient, strong individuals.
This has to be done when they are between the age of 0, even how you hold them, right down to the age of 7. It is so important.
If your child is confident in himself or herself, what more can you ask for? What more can you ask for?
And at the end of the day, it's the human being and the child before us. This aspect of addressing the whole human being is a paradigm shift for many people.